This chair recognizes the gentlelady from Georgia, Ms. McBath.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Infrastructure and funding have proven to be hurdles for the cities attempting to switch to the NIBRS system. How many cities are still struggling right now to make that switch, and how can Congress help as they make that transition and they make that switch?
So thank you, ma'am. I don't have the numbers here in front of me for the number of agencies that have not transitioned to NIBRS yet, but what I will say is we do conduct extensive outreach with the agencies who have not transitioned to NIBRS. And I would also like to highlight very quickly that the law enforcement agencies want to switch. And so incentivizing them is not necessarily necessary, if that makes sense, because they want to switch to NIBRS because they understand the value in the NIBRS program and the NIBRS system and how it will be useful to the American public as well as to policymakers and law enforcement.
Thank you. And so we know that the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act was very pivotal legislation for gun violence awareness. Among some of its functions, it included updated language so that domestic violence offenses, including dating relationships, were included. How has NIBRS adjusted to include this additional information?
So the NIBRS system, I don't have specifically what the question asks when it regards to the incident, but that would be captured within that incident. And I think it's really important for us to highlight the fact that we do have to do extensive research and education for our law enforcement partners, because particularly with things with the dating relationships, we want to make sure that that's documented in those offense reports, so that we can make determinations on down the road on firearms eligibility should that come to fruition.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'd also like to take a point of privilege to express my gratitude to Jill Gensling for her contributions to the Judiciary Committee. This is her last hearing with us. And Jill has been instrumental in supporting and furthering the work of the committee in the 118th Congress, both through the Subcommittee on Crime and her extensive involvement in oversight of the federal government. We are forever grateful for countless hours that she has dedicated to serving the committee, our members, and the country. And we know that great things are ahead for her, and we wish her the best of luck in her future endeavors. Thank you, Jill. And I'd like to yield the balance of my time to our colleague, Ms. Lee Carter.
Thank you, Ranking Member McBath and Chairman Biggs, for the opportunity to join here today. Thank you for all the staff who's worked so hard on this committee over the years. It's a privilege to be a member of the esteemed Judiciary Committee. I'm the newest one, and to round out the important work in the 118th Congress. The critical issues of criminal justice and oversight of federal agencies within this jurisdiction are ones my mother, the late Congresswoman Jackson Lee, held to the highest standards and scrutiny in ensuring justice, fairness, and dignity for all Americans. Assistant Director Ferguson, my only question is, and thank you all I really want to thank you for releasing a hate crime report. It's important that we acknowledge these types of crimes by race, by gender, by sexual orientation. In my local community, Houston, we hear those stories. We've had a lot of attacks against transgender Black women, and they deserve to be heard. Their voices deserve to be acknowledged. What type of incentives have you offered to local law enforcement, and what have you seen as successful, maybe to bring them along to participate in data collection?
So what I would say again, I think the value that we provide in the CJIS division with our state and local partners is that education, and again, the value they provide to us is they've already been incentivized because they want this. The law enforcement partners want to be partners with us in making sure we're getting accurate crime data out so that it can be used across all aspects of American life, from the public safety to the legislative and policy making to academia. We're constantly working with our local and state partners to make sure that we're educating them on what we want to see or what should be seen within the NIBRS report. But again, I think it's really important to know that this is something that they want and that they're asking for as well.
Well, I hope we can continue to support data collection in your work. I yield the balance of my time. Thank you.